Well, in other news, oil is part of the fabric of Kern County. But as our population grows, some people are living just feet away from oil wells. A study by the San Joaquin Valley Air Pollution Control District found high levels of methane gas coming from two idle oil wells near a community in Northeast Bakersfield. Over the weekend, the state agency CalGEM sent inspectors to the area. 23 ABC's Bonnie Patino has more on what was found and spoke with organizers who were there at the time of the inspection about what changes they hope will come.
It started with two wells, one of them being this one, showing high levels of methane gas being leaked to nearby communities. But when CalGEM and other agencies came to check it out and seal it, adding this plate along with these bolts to make sure that the leak was stopped, they also realized that there were other wells experiencing the same thing.
We found 4 more wells to the north of these. All of them had a leak at explosive levels of methane gas.
Cesar Aguirre with the Central California Environmental Justice Network explains the inspectors used gas readers and found one well was hitting the reading limit of 50,000 parts per million, meaning 50,000 of every 1 million air molecules is methane. That is also the exposure level at which methane becomes potentially explosive. A handful of local residents expressed not being too concerned over the leak, but one mentioned they had talked about it with neighbors.
Some guy said he smelled a putrid, like acid, I guess. I just hope it doesn't come to our house for one.
Valenzuela says he has been living here for a year and has only recently heard about this. And while out here, Aguirre noticed one of the barrels that covers these wells was recently tipped over.
And that means somebody, potentially could have been playing with what could be a bomb. And I think that's another reason that this is a public danger. These should be fenced off. As per CalGEM rules, these are critical wells and they should be fenced off, but they're not. Violations on top of violations, and that's part of the reason why we're here.
Those violations made by the owner of the wells, Sunray Petroleum Inc., which according to an online database has over 100 wells in Kern County. CalGEM says the company has failed to pay idle well fees and submit an idle well testing compliance work plan, as well as numerous oil field related violations. On May 2nd, CalGEM requested the company plug and abandon wells and restore well sites for 28 idle wells, but the company appealed the order on May 13th. 23 ABC reached out to the company's online portal and called the number on their barrels as well as headquarters, but did not get an answer. On the flip side, CalGEM was also not available for an interview, but did put out a statement in regard to the first 2 well readings, saying in part, "We have been coordinating with the operator and local first responders to determine the wells do not pose an immediate threat to public health or safety. While the pinhole-sized leaks were determined to be minor in nature, CalGEM contractors were able to seal both wells," end quote. And according to eGas Depot methane fact sheet, the gas is considered an asphyxiant at extremely high concentrations and can displace oxygen, especially in confined spaces. Known symptoms include headache, dizziness, loss of coordination, and nausea. Meanwhile, Aguirre explains CalGEM is not required to communicate these results with nearby neighborhoods, which is why he passed out flyers with information. And although he is happy to see the 2 wells were sealed, he wishes the state did more.
For CalGEM, methane isn't a public health problem, and for them, they described it as a pin-sized leak. I think the size of the leak does not determine the severity of the problem. A bullet hole is the size of a pinhole, and I think that can cause a lot of damage. And obviously 4 wells that are still leaking at explosive levels, if that's a minor issue to them, then I think that's a big, indicator of the disrespect they have for our lives.
He also points out that the regulators that came out during the weekend only searched for methane gas, but points out that wells like these often leak other types of gases that should also be looked into. In Northeast Bakersfield, Bonnie Patino, 23 ABC News, connecting you.